Broadcasting from the Fence One Studio. Voted #1 contractor in North Alabama. 94.1 WHRP. Gurley, Huntsville, Decatur. A Cumulus media station.
Toni, yeah! Toni in the morning. Toni in the morning.
94.1 WHRP.
Toni in the morning. Welcome to Thursday, eve of the weekend. Hope you're feeling good. Many people paying tribute to those we lost, of course, on that fatal day, 9/11, 24 years ago. And, of course, reflections and remembrance tributes taking place across the country and within the Tennessee Valley today. Ford is recalling over 1.5 million cars. Why? I mean, that has to be the word of the year, recall, right? And many people talking about what happened yesterday when conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during a campus event. It's Toni in the morning, DJ Primetime 256, off today. You and I rolling solo on 94.1 WHRP.
94.1 WHRP.
Toni in the morning, DJ Primetime 256, off today. And so many people talking about the two shootings that happened yesterday. One in Colorado, claiming the lives of two teenagers at Evergreen High School. And they say that the shooter unalived themselves. And not only that, they say that there were nearly 15 to 30 rounds that they heard. Reportedly, two other teenagers, high school students, are in the hospital, one of which is in critical condition. Reportedly, the other one is in stable condition. We're following that story, as well as the shooting that claimed the life of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, a conservative commentator who was on the campus of Utah Valley University when he was shot in the neck and sadly died at 31 years old. Just before the shot, he was answering a question about the number of mass shootings in America. The irony of all of that. He was known for supporting the right-wing ideas, gun rights, and also one who founded the conservative advocacy group Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk was 31.
Toni in the Morning Show. Weekdays starting at 6 a.m. on 94.1 WHRP.
And it is time for the good news in the neighborhood. Shout out to the city of Decatur. And they're always doing something really interesting for the kiddos, right? And there is an app challenge that you can participate in. If you haven't checked it out, you should go to the City of Decatur Youth Services. You can find that on their Facebook page, an opportunity for you to create an app, design your app, and learn how to do it all. And who knows, we might find some really big winners. We're looking for these big winners to be announced in December. So you still have time to get in where you fit in. Check out this and other good news in the neighborhood on our Facebook page at 94.1 WHRP.
The Good News in the Neighborhood is sponsored by Alabama A&M. Learn more about Alabama A&M University by visiting aamu.edu today.
A day of reflection, no doubt. We all remember where we were on this day. Totally shocking. So many people didn't know what was happening. For me, I was watching the Today Show with Bryant Gumbel, and I remember when he was getting live information from people that were watching it unfold in New York City, the September 11th attacks. Of course, we remember on that day so much chaos, and then it just got worse, right? Many people will pay tribute not only across the country, but right here in the Tennessee Valley. And as we take a little time to remember this day, of course, after years have passed, you know, you end up finding out that you may have known somebody that you didn't know at that particular time perished in those attacks. Yeah. Today, we will catch up with Major Castleberry Hernandez, who's been in Huntsville since yesterday, and she is in the great company of the United Women of Color, and they have been sharing some valuable information, which we will share with you at 8 o'clock this morning. All right. She has a new memoir, and she will be talking about the importance of national security on this date that we commemorate and we remember. All right. Why national security matters, and a perspective from one of America's top national security strategists. And we get a chance to catch up with her in the 8 o'clock hour. So make sure that you join this conversation, because it changed everything. How we use public transportation. You remember that we started having to take our shoes off, our belts off, all that stuff going through the airport. They weren't allowing us just to pass things through. Then they started making changes on what items you can take on board. It was a lot of different changes that happened here in the United States. On 9/11, we remember the flights that hit the North Tower, the World Trade Center. Of course, then the United Airline flight that hit the South Tower. And then the American flight that crashed into the Pentagon. And all the heroes aboard the United flight that decided, you know what, we're not going to let you take this plane into the U.S. Capitol. We're going to take this plane down, and we're going to sacrifice our life to save many others. Remembering 9/11, 24 years ago today.
94.1 WHRP.
The latest gossip headlines.
Here she goes, up in everybody's business.
Tony's Tattletale.
Did you hear about what happened?
Tony's Tattletale.
Tony's Tattletale. Is any of this true?
Tony's Tattletale.
At 55 years old, things are changing for the Queen. Talking about Queen Latifah. We ain't used to her talking about menopause. Ladies first, all right? But she is talking about menopause because she's there, and she says it's not about all the hot sweats and flashes that a lot of ladies talk about. It's about them 10 pounds that you can't get rid of. Menopause is a real thing, and now she's teamed up with Weight Watchers to talk more about how to control menopause. Yeah, the Queen. Wonder if she's going to have a men-o-pause rap song. All right, Cardi B has announced that she's going to do meet and greets to promote her brand new album, Am I the Drama? Duh. All right, that's going to drop on September 19th. She's only doing a few select cities, such as New York, of course, also in California and Houston, Texas. All right, Cardi, we'll be looking for that. Oh, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says yes, there will be another installment of Jumanji. Can't wait to see it. And yes, he's bringing back that little guy we know as Kevin Hart. It's not the word, it's what I heard. It's just tattletales.
Now you're in the know about other people's business. From Tony's Tattletale on 94.1 WHRP.
Where hits really play. 94.1 WHRP.
All right, now listen, this is one of those situations where it could be debatable. Should you brush your teeth first or floss first? Or do you floss first and then brush your teeth? Everybody has their way of doing it. But they are now saying that it doesn't matter as long as you're doing both. Okay, all right? So it turns out it doesn't matter really if you floss or brush first during your dental hygiene routine. But you got to get it in. You got to floss between those little choppers, all right? In between to get all the little food particles that are stuck in your gums so you don't get sick. It's very important. You know, your dental health is the gateway to good health. And so the American Dental Association is, of course, the professors over at Harvard School of Dental Medicine told lately and most recently that as long as you're doing both correctly and you have it done on a regular basis. Now, I'm a flosser. I cannot stand feeling food in my teeth or stuck in my gums. So I'm going to floss right away after eating. If I feel one little something. Now, if I'm in a situation where I don't have my toothbrush, I'm still going to floss. Floss, swish, blah, blah, blah. All right. But for me, regularly, I'm going to floss first. Because I think when you're brushing your teeth, it's almost like when you take your car through a car wash. Yeah. So all that said, I'm going to brush my teeth after I floss. How many times do you do it a day? As much as you feel that, you want to get the crud out of your teeth. But it's very important. So no matter what direction you floss or brush, just make sure you do them both. It's time for your weekly money saving tips with Tish Hardrick and Associates.
Waited long enough for the right moment, the right motivation, and the right support. But here's the truth. The right time is now, and the right person is you. Be the one who says yes when everything says wait. Be the one who gets up without applause, who grinds without permission. No coach, no crowd, no cheerleaders, no problem. You are the fuel. You are the fire. You are the force. Every step you take from here, that's you proving it. You don't need a push from the world when power is already within you. This is your time. No more stalling. No more silence. Get loud, get up, get going. Be your own push. That's your weekly money saving Tish tip. Check in at 7:45 a.m. Monday morning with Tish Hardrick and Associates, or go to thetishteam.com.
94.1 WHRP Black History Facts with O.C. Maddox Jr.
Today we dive into a pivotal chapter in American history, redlining under Jim Crow and the Watershed Fair Housing Act. Signed into law on April 11, 1968, just days after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. That act prohibited housing discrimination on the basis of race, sex, national origin, and religion. It also marked the final major civil rights law that was signed during that era. Redlining was a discriminatory housing policy initiated by the Homeowners Loan Corporation in the 1930s. There were neighborhoods with predominantly black residents who lived there, but they were outlined in red as high risk for mortgage lending, systematically cutting off the open access to loans, home ownership, and generational wealth for black communities. That also entrenched segregation and contributed significantly to the racial wealth gap. We're going to fast forward now to April 11, 1968. Let's leave 1930. That's when the Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act, commonly known as the Fair Housing Act, became law. It outlawed discrimination in housing-related activities based on race, color, religion, sex, disability, and familial status of national origin. This was also the final major statute passed during the Civil Rights era. It also set up the stage for more equitable access to housing. The Civil Rights Movement represented both empowerment and vulnerability. It was the relentless efforts of activists and protesters of all races who laid the groundwork for transformative laws to end segregation, voter suppression, and discriminatory practices in employment and housing. But right now, I want to give to you 3 ways that the Fair Housing Act actually helped open doors, not just for Black Americans, but for all. Number 1, it expanded home ownership access. Though gaps remain, the law helped create legal pathways for historically marginalized groups to own homes, which was a key source of wealth and stability. Number 2, affirmation of enforcement power. Over time, the Act's provisions, including disparate impact claims, allowed challenges to discriminatory policies, even without explicit intent. And number 3, it built community equity. The Act laid a foundation for policies promoting integrated opportunity, rich neighborhoods, improving access to quality schools. And what about employment and public services? That all works. Despite persistent disparities, I was going over this particular research from Pew Research. Their data shows that Black and Hispanic households today remain disproportionately renters. And we're talking 57 and 52% respectively, compared to 20% of the white households. While not a direct measure of the act's impact, it underscores progress in housing access, and it also signals how much remains to be achieved. Well, that'll do it for today's broadcast. I'm O.C. Maddox Jr. for Black History Facts. And until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and keep on making history.
Black History Facts, weekdays at 7:55 a.m. and 1:20 p.m. Brought to you by OMJ Media Design. Find them on Facebook for photo, digital, print, and more. OMJ Media Design.
Toni in the morning.
94.1 WHRP.
And today, as you well know, it is 9/11, a day we'll always remember, a day that changed the United States forever, and I might say just the entire world, on how we move in security. And that said, we are excited to have the privilege of talking to Asha Castleberry, and she, a senior advisor, senior executive service in the Bureau of Near Eastern Affairs under the Biden-Harris administration, who was deployed at one time and really now has a memoir that could probably help us all. Thanking our friends from United Women of Color for bringing her to the Tennessee Valley, and today she will do a nice bit of information for people later on. We're going to get into that. All that said, welcome to the show. Good morning, Ms. Castleberry.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Tony.
Glad to have you with us on this day, especially because, as you know, there are many tributes taking place across the country because of this day of an attack in 2001. Where were you?
I was in New York
Mm-hmm.
in 11th grade, watching it happen in my backyard. And I just remember the depictions of helicopters heading their way to the site, responding to this awful threat that happened to us. And then simultaneously watching TV and watch actually the second building that was attacked, and it was just extremely mind-boggling. I remember my father contacted both my sister and I, said, turn on the TV, that we just been attacked.
It was unbelievable.
I would say the most devastating moment was when I found out that my uncle was on site, and we were really worried about him. We didn't hear from him for quite some time, and then he finally did contact us, to where he was telling us he was stuck down there in the site, and he had to cross the Brooklyn Bridge in order to be able to get out of the area of Ground Zero, because the subway trains and other traveling or transportation was just pretty much closed down, responding to this issue. So it was completely devastating, and I would say a moment where it changed my life and many people in the New York tri-state area. And then
Hello? Okay, we've lost the...
Yes.
There you are. Okay, that's one of those moments when the phone breaks up. Got a little quiet there. On this date, everybody took a pause on that one. Okay.
Right.
All right. We're talking to Asha Castleberry, and she has a new memoir that probably could help many people. Why National Security Matters, a perspective from one of America's top national security strategists. And you served in the U.S. Army for how long?
19 years. In fact, 9/11 is the reason why I joined. After watching what happened, America unified, and many of us wanted to join the military. I was part of that generation that was inspired to join the military and learn about leadership, about how to defend our country. So it was such a different type of vibe around that time. And as a result, my 19 years in the military, I deployed to the Middle East, responding to counterterrorism and security cooperation, and learned that we are still in the business working on counterterrorism, where we spent over 20 years in this type of business, as well as spending millions and millions and trillions of dollars in places like Iraq and Afghanistan and many other parts of the Middle East, going after terrorist groups. So it's quite fascinating to watch happen over the last 2 decades, and this is the same time frame I've spent my military experiences. And we should never forget that generation that deployed in these areas to defend our country. And I just remember that time when I joined. You can turn on national TV or national meeting. You could see right on the bottom of the screen the amount of people that were killed from the war against terrorism. And it was very sad, because you knew, looking at that number, roughly it was probably around 3,000 when I joined. A bulk of those soldiers were young men and women who decided to join to defend our country and lost their lives as a result of fighting terrorism. So it was a really, really profound decision I made to not only join, but also stay within the military, because we knew many of our comrades died defending the country.
And that said, the impact of 9/11, how it has changed the country forever on how we move. And when it comes, I've spoke about this earlier, about public transportation, taking trains and planes and buses and things like that, the security of going to a sporting event, a concert event, all those things have changed over the course of the last 24 years since 9/11. Tell us the importance of national security.
Yes, national security, of course, the concept of it is that we as a nation are able to defend our country from both domestic and foreign threats. And in the 21st century, those threats range across the spectrum. Well, what do I mean by that? Look at the traditional threats, that can be, potentially a terrorist internally, or potentially just even financial insecurity that could impact us. Now we're looking at threats like COVID-19 or climate change, where it happens or crystallizes outside of our country, that does not see borders, that does not discriminate, and impacts many of us in the country. So where we are in the 21st century, our national security threats are very diverse and more complex. And Washington, D.C. spends a lot of money countering these threats. And then what you're seeing is, going between different administrations, things tend to be prioritized, where sometimes national security threats get money to counter, and sometimes they don't. Climate change is the perfect example. Now you're seeing playing out what happened with the recent attacks on the Venezuelan vessel. That was also another example where we're now prioritizing more and countering threats, or engaging more in counter-narcotics missions, and deprioritizing other issues involving the Western Hemisphere. So it's, again, a very diverse domain, and we are still engaged as far as dealing with the strategic competition, where we're also competing against China and Russia, and simultaneously still involved in the counterterrorism business. We are still in places like Syria, a little bit in Iraq, and other parts of Africa, where we are engaged in counterterrorism. So it's spread throughout the country, throughout the world, as far as our American posture involving policy and its implications. But for the most part, it's something that the American people need to know about, as far as what our government is involved, and when we have someone in leadership, especially in the White House, what are their priorities and how to act us here at home?
If you want to hear more of this conversation and get a chance to elbow rub a bit with Asha Castleberry, you can do that today between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the atrium at Redstone Federal Credit Union, 220 Wind Drive. And our friends at the United Women of Color are putting on this event. And then tomorrow, it looks like our dear friend, Ms. Violet Edwards, Commissioner Violet Edwards, will be hosting the Women's Leadership Roundtable by the Madison County Commissioner Violet Edwards. So you'll also get a chance to meet and maybe even talk to Asha Castleberry. We want to say first and foremost, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service and for writing this book of great information that will help all of us be a little more alert and find out the importance of national security, especially on a day like this when we remember and commemorate the many people that we lost on 9/11. Thank you.
Thank you.
94.1 WHRP.
Happy Thursday and good news. I love hearing these type of stories. Trader Joe's donates 100% of unsold products every single day. You know, we have an issue in this country of people being hungry. All right. So to help combat hunger here in the United States, they are donating 100% of products that go unsold. That's really, really nice. Over 592 stores reportedly that Trader Joe has. And they have said that, you know, they've donated nearly 98 million pounds of leftover food in 2024 alone, and tens of millions of pounds of products that were given to more than 2,000 partners each and every single day. So the number for 2025 will be revealed in January. However, the store has been donating and helping to combat hunger in the neighborhoods and the region of which Trader Joe's are. And so we have a Trader Joe's here. And so I'm hoping that they're connected to some of the organizations that are helping to give back to families in need.
94.1 WHRP.
This is weird. I mean, it's different. I ain't never heard of it before. Maybe you have. A family in Texas, did you hear about this? Who is about to have a baby girl. The first time in the family. Listen to this. They're the Sherman family, known for 108-year streak of only giving birth to boys. What? Huh? How does that happen? This family has only delivered boys. They've only birthed boys for 108 years. That has to be a Guinness World Record, right? I'm just thinking. But nonetheless, to everybody's surprise, they're going to have a girl. I bet this baby girl's going to be so spoiled. Right? Oh, my goodness. She can't wear all the hand-me-downs now. Don't even try it. The last time the Sherman family gave birth and had a baby girl was in the year 1917. Bizarre. Crazy. What are y'all eating? All right. That you're only having boys. Wild. So, yeah, this little baby girl should be, I mean, they might as well just go ahead and name her queen.
94.1 WHRP. Toni in the morning. About to chop it up and break them down. Those complicated lyrics on old school jams and new ones too. It's the old school, new school lyric breakdown.
One thing's for certain and one thing's for sure. Anytime you hear his voice, it just sounds good, makes you feel good. Talking about the one and only Luther Vandross, who had a hand in writing this song, producing this song. In fact, it was 1999 when the song won Mr. Luther his first Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. The song he performed on the Oprah Winfrey Show back in the day is the one and only Here and Now. One look in your eyes and there I see just what you mean to me. Here in my heart, I believe your love is all I ever need. Holding you close through the night, I need you. Yeah. I look in your eyes and there I see what happiness really means. The love that we share makes life so sweet. Together will always be. This pledge of love feels so right. And oh, I need you. Now, this almost sounds like wedding vows. It sounds like a commitment. It sounds like he's really trying to come through and, make sure that this is locked in, this relationship. Here and now, I promise to love you faithfully. You're all I need here and now. I vow to be one with thee. Your love is all I need. Oh, this is certainly some wedding vows. When I look in your eyes, there I see all the love should really be. And I need you more and more each day. Nothing can take your love away more than just a dream. I need you. It is Luther Vandross here and now, his Grammy Award winning song.
Toni, in the morning.
94.1 WHRP.
Listen, this crazy fee that you see every single time you use an ATM, especially if it's not your prospective bank, seems to be going up and up and up. Have you noticed that over the years? Well, they say the ATM fees are at a record high, and I believe it. According to bankrate.com, they say that we're spending on an average of $4.86 for the out-of-network ATM withdrawals. And sometimes you're just like, you know what, I'm going to pay the $5 because I got to get this money right now, right? It adds up. And so they say this is up nearly 2% from last year. I believe it every time I turn around. And so I really am trying to do better. I mean, still, you need a little cash in your stash, right? I mean, using your credit card and your ATM, that's okay. But after a while, you need some cash, because I don't want to use my card everywhere, outside of my norm. So if I'm traveling and all that, I try to get one of those preloaded cards so it doesn't go back to the bank, and or have cash in my hand. But these fees, every now and then, got to use a bank that's not mine, and those fees are adding up. So anyway, they say the government's going to look into this, All right. In the meantime, be mindful of the fact that if you're not using your prospective bank, 9 times out of 10, those ATM fees are much higher than they have been in the last 2 years.
94.1 WHRP.
Time for the motivation and inspiration. And some people, well, they look for a beautiful place, but others make a place beautiful. So no matter what you have, you can say, oh, if I had a big $1 million home, it would be beautiful. Not necessarily. You can make any space beautiful. All right. Some people look for a beautiful place. Others make a place beautiful. That is your motivation and inspiration. 94.1 WHRP.
94.1 WHRP.
Remembering those we lost on this day 24 years ago, 9/11. All right, check in tomorrow morning.
Broadcasting from the Fence One studio, voted #1 contractor in North Alabama. 94.1 WHRP. Gurley, Huntsville, Decatur, a Cumulus media station. 94.1 WHRP.